Once upon a time, numerous animals lived together happily and sweetly in an area surrounded by slopes, lush hills, and gorgeous mountains. The fox and stork named Rascal and Flitter were two good buddies. They spent most of their days together. They strolled the village's streets and back alleyways while taking in the fresh mountain air and stunning surroundings. Rascal, however, used to mock others. He often teased other animals since he liked making fun of them. One day, as Fox was walking through the village, he saw a flock of sheep. Among them, he noticed a white sheep named Marshmallow, wandering aimlessly. Fox asked, "Why are you wandering around, Marshmallow?" Marshmallow replied, "I'm hungry, looking for some grass to eat so I can satisfy my hunger." Rascal invited the sheep to his home and said, "I've prepared a delicious meal. You would be my guest today." Marshmallow was delighted and set off for Fox's house. They encountered a large, chilly river along the way, which was formed when the mountain's ice and snow melted. Marshmallow was standing by the river when he thought, "Oh my God, this water is so cold and deep, and I can't swim." Rascal, who had swiftly gotten across the river, glared at the poor sheep and shouted, "Look, there's a bunch of fresh and nutritious wheat waiting for you on the other side. Why don't you come?" "Do you have a boat I can use to cross the river?" asked Marshmallow. The fox said, laughing loudly, "No! Well, unfortunately, you can't join my party." Marshmallow, who was helpless, descended upon the village in panic. The following day, Fox devised another plan and made the decision to invite the farm hens to his house with the intention of making fun of them. He threw some grains in the weeder area of their coop and announced, "I have a great offer for you. I invite you to my feast." The chickens rushed to him, curious about his invitation. Fox had prepared a large table full of fresh and delicious grains. However, the dining table was behind tall fences in the yard of his house. The chickens couldn't fly over the fences and were unable to reach the grains. Fox, while rapidly devouring the food, said, "Why aren't you eating? It's delicious. Hurry up before I finish it all." The chickens, disheartened and upset, could only watch as Fox enjoyed his meal and mocked them. A few days later, Fox decided to invite his friend Flitter to lunch and play a prank on him too. He thought, "This will be one of my best pranks, and I'll laugh at Flitter a lot." With that in mind, he approached Flitter and said, "Why the rush? Can I help you with something?" Flitter replied, "I have something important to do." Rascal asked, "Would you like to come to my party?" Flitter thought to himself, "Rascal must have put a lot of effort into this party, and he's a close friend of mine. If I don't go, he'll be very upset." Flitter was lost in thought when suddenly Rascal said, "Don't worry, it won't take long. My delicious meal is ready. You can eat and return quickly." Flitter eagerly accepted and joined Rascal. "What a wonderful friend Fox is," he thought to himself. "How thoughtful he is of me." When they arrived at Rascal's house, he had set everything up in advance. He had placed soup in a low bowl and said, "Please, have a seat." Flitter thanked him and prepared to eat. However, he realized there was a problem. He couldn't eat from the low bowl because of his long beak. Fox knew that Flitter couldn't get his long beak into the bowl, so Flitter just sat there and watched in panic. Flitter felt discouraged by this dishonest tactic. "It's time to teach Rascal a lesson and let him realize that making fun of other people is wrong," he reasoned. He thought about a good strategy and ultimately came up with one. If you've enjoyed the story so far, please support us by liking and subscribing. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell. And of course, feel free to leave your comment. Flitter patiently waited for a few days to pass before approaching Fox. He found Rascal by the river, enjoying the sunshine. Flitter greeted him warmly and invited him for a feast at his house. Rascal, who seemed surprised, quickly accepted Flitter's invitation. He thought to himself, "On the day of the feast, I won't eat anything, so I can eat to my heart's content at Flitter's house and not miss any food." So Tricky Fox arrived at Flitter's house exactly when he was told. The delicious smell of the meat filled the air, and water had begun to pour from the corners of the fox's mouth. The stork had also provided 2 narrow-mouthed clay pots. Rascal sat at the table eagerly and gazed at the pot emitting the aroma of delicious and tasty food. But there seemed to be a problem. He couldn't eat anything from this narrow-mouthed pot with his large snout. Flitter knew that he couldn't get his large snout into the pot. Now it was Rascal's turn to go hungry. The fox just sat there, watching his friend eat the delicious meal. The stork emptied his own pot with a long beak and then pulled the fox's pot towards himself and began to eat it all. The rascal had just realized his previous ugly pranks while lost in his thoughts. He lowered his head in shame. Flitter looked at him and said, "What you did to your friends was really bad. We used to be friends. I did this on purpose so that you would understand that making fun of others and teasing them is not at all right. As much as you're feeling bad right now, I felt just as bad that day. But don't be upset now. I've saved some of this food for you. I'll bring it to you." The fox, now fully understanding his mistake, promised never to tease anyone and not to make fun of anyone. From that day on, the fox and the stork became very good friends and treated other animals with kindness and respect. If you're interested in watching more exciting videos, check out the links we've provided by clicking on them right now or visiting the description section.